If so, bump somebody. All right, thanks. I love you, man. Bye. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get! Yes! What's next?
You know, there's something so fascinating about watching an empire crumble to the floor, isn't it? Especially right in front of us and live in, 8K now? And since the 2010s, the untouchable had been touched, the unburnable had become torched, the unsinkable had sank. For these days bring about the beginning of the end of Sean Puffy Combs, famously known to the public as P. Diddy, a rap mogul whose tale of power, corruption, abuse, and very slippery situations, one I thought could only come out of the pages of a damn Gotham City comic book, and certainly for those in the streets, and thus in the know, they saw this coming from a couple decades away, but my naive 9-year-old ass didn't know what was going on at the time. But as these things have come to light, it all finally makes sense. Diddy has got to be one of the most successful villains the rap game has ever known. But like the rules of karma go, every villain has his day. And eventually all the negative things you put out into the universe will come back to haunt you. And this is by far one of the craziest downfalls I've ever witnessed in my entire fandom of hip-hop. How big is it? Well, in this video, I'm gonna run through the timeline of shady events in this man's career, and there are a whole bunch of them. And I'm also gonna run through it from the perspective of somebody that didn't really know what was going on, but there was suspicions. You see, all of this has been a long time coming, and I'm gonna try to run through just some of the things that stood out the most. But there are thousands of stories, I'm sure, and this story is still currently developing, so I'm sure there's gonna be even more crazier and crazier stuff that comes out. There's been a lot of crazy stuff coming out as of lately, but I'm gonna try to keep it all simple. So here it goes.
For Jodeci tonight, Mary J. Blige, and Father MC. And all put together by, first this man in the middle here, and then he's passed it on to, I guess, his son. Protege. Protege.
Yes, yes.
Puffy.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about this man and why you like working with him.
Because, you know, he's not intimidated by youth, you know what I'm saying? He knows the importance of leaving a legacy behind. Because we need more adults out there that's going to...
The year is 1990, and P. Diddy, then known as Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs, gets started in the industry. This is his first time entering the music industry. It's 1990, and also this is the least shadiest year of his career as far as I know. So, next. According to a November 2023 lawsuit that was filed against P. Diddy, Sean Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall allegedly sexually assaulted an unnamed victim and a friend after a music industry event. And then when he was confronted days later, Diddy beat the crap out of her. Also, Diddy allegedly went on a date with a 19-year-old named Joy Dickerson, allegedly drugged her and sexually assaulted her and videotaped it. P. Diddy's violent behavior and unpredictability allegedly leads to him getting fired from his music industry job. However, that's where he goes on to form Bad Boy Records and signed various artists throughout the years, including people like Craig Mack, Mace, The Lox, Faith Evans, and of course, the notorious B.I.G. This was the beginning of Bad Boy Records.
What's up, my name is Puff Daddy. This is my new artist, the notorious B.I.G. And we here at the Outcast Picnic, just getting out, swerve all the way on. Yeah, yeah. So yo, check this show. It's 94. We got Craig Mack, we got the Notorious Big, we got Usher Raymond, we got Mary J. Blige.
That same year, Now this is a crazy one. That same year, Tupac Shakur arrives at a New York City studio where Bad Boy Records is recording. P. Diddy is in the building. The Notorious B.I.G. is working on his album Ready to Die, and Tupac is making his way to the studio. There was apparently or allegedly a brief interaction from the window to the floor, or to the first floor where Tupac was located, and they're like, hey, what's up? Oh, Biggie's there. Oh, Tupac's here. And Tupac was on his way up to go say hi to them. At that time, Tupac entered an elevator, and a few armed men entered the elevator and robbed Tupac and shot him 5 times. Tupac claims to know exactly who those men were and that they were affiliated with Biggie and Puffy. And this would begin a deadly rivalry. Tupac swore revenge.
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you see what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out. It was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue, because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, we did, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times and acts?
Who shot y'all? Separate the weak from the opsa. Leap hard to creep them Brooklyn streets. It's on, nigga. Fuck all that bickering beef. I can hear sweat trickling down your cheek. Your heartbeat sound like Sasquatch feet. Thundering, shaking the concrete. Then the shit stopped when I fall the plot. Neighbors call the cops, said they heard mad shots.
In 1995, things got even crazier. By now, Tupac is released and is signed to Death Row Records under Suge Knight. And Suge Knight and P. Diddy begin feuding with each other. Reportedly, Suge Knight even showed up to New York City looking for Diddy, assaulting somebody and forcing them to drink urine if they did not tell him the location of Diddy. Things were getting dangerous and things were getting gangsta. And now Tupac was signed and was soon included into the fold. And you remember Tupac, he had a plan of vengeance, as he felt these were the men responsible. He kept telling everybody, Biggie set me up, Puffy set me up, but it just, at the time, it sounded, I don't know, it just sounded paranoid. But, oh boy, would we later find out, man, hindsight truly is 2020. I remember hearing this at the time and thinking to myself, nah, that can't be, like, yo, Tupac, like, chill out. Maybe Tupac's just paranoid. Even Biggie said as much in an interview. And I was like, nah, this can't be. But Tupac swore up and down that these guys were not good guys. But at the time, we didn't know any better. The media, we really didn't know. Diddy was still very much a predator at that time. And Tupac figured it out. Could you imagine realizing that somebody who you were close friends with, because Biggie and Pac were friends at one point, could you imagine realizing that you got shot and robbed by their boys just to make room for their artists? Ooh, that is like the ultimate betrayal. Tupac took this anger with him to prison when he got locked up, and I'm sure it ate at him in there, because when he came out on fire and had a vengeance against Biggie and Puffy.
The Tupac article had me pissed off, you know what I'm saying? And the rumors that's spreading is on some tip like we set him up, you know what I'm saying? And that's crazy. It's just ridiculous, you know what I'm saying? But I also understand that if you was to get shot 5 times, mine is just completely spinning, you know what I'm saying? You're real confused about your situation, so it'll cause you to say things that you really don't mean.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's no.
In 1996, Combs allegedly sexually assaulted a woman named April Lampros on several occasions. There's an incident where she alleges that Combs forced her to perform oral sex on him in a car, which she says was witnessed by a lot of employees, including a parking lot attendant. And another, she claims that he forced ecstasy down her throat and made her have sex with him and his then girlfriend, Kim Porter. This is all according to a May 2024 lawsuit. The feud between Death Row Records and Bad Boy Records reaches a fever pitch, and soon the media begins to portray it as a East Coast versus West Coast beef, or Biggie versus Tupac. Tupac goes on to record a song called Hit 'Em Up, a scathing diss track in which Tupac, among other things, claims to have slept with the Notorious B.I.G.'s wife, finally officially calling the Notorious B.I.G. and Puffy out for what he alleges was his shooting in 1993. The song goes on to hit the radio, and people are just waiting for Biggie and Puffy to respond. But something strange happens. Puffy and Biggie both decline to respond. They both play it off to the media like, nah, that's messed up, Tupac dissed us and all that, but nah, I'm just gonna keep it professional, keep it mature. And basically, Puffy portrayed to the media that he didn't plan to do anything about the Tupac diss.
Like when we had got hit with Hit 'Em Up, I had to make the call to Biggie, and I said, we're not gonna respond. Somebody's gonna get hurt if we respond, And so I don't know what's gonna happen with it, but I could understand that perspective because Tupac hit us with Hit 'Em Up, and that joint was cold. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to that. We were actually like throwing people's turntables. A DJ would play that. We would just end the party and just
take that off.
No, we would take the turntable. We would take your turntables. You played Hit 'Em Up.
Biggie ultimately never directly responded, even though there are some subliminals littered through his second album, but that's a topic for another day. Puffy would go on to claim that, yeah, it's messed up, but we just kept it quiet. However, what we know now is that, according to one of the conspirators who got Tupac murdered, Keefy D, he claimed in an interview to Vlad TV that Sean Diddy Combs put a hit out on Tupac. When I first heard that claim, I was like, that can't be real. There is no way that that's real because that sounds far-fetched. But now, knowing what we know now in the year 2024, it doesn't sound that far-fetched. And lo and behold, Tupac Shakur was killed in 1996 in Las Vegas by Keefy D and his boys. Keefy D alleges that though the hit was promised, the hit was never paid, and P. Diddy still owed Keefy D that money. That's wild.
The story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money
I heard
to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefy and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire, a murder for hire. So thank God. If this is a true story, I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been a murder for hire and Puffy would be locked up.
The FBI said he's a dirty motherfucker.
Yeah, and he even said that, like, in retrospect, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to Puffy. By Zip stealing the money, now Puffy isn't connected to that shit. Or else it would have been like a murder for hire or something, you know what I'm saying?
The FBI said Zip.
So the FBI told you the
They said he
same
was
thing?
a dirty motherfucker, yeah.
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well?
They said Zip's a dirty motherfucker.
That's how real it is. I think somebody's trying to kill me. I'll be waking up paranoid. I'll be really scared. I'll just be paro. That's just the way I am. You know. You be seeing me. Scared to death.
Serena Altschul with an MTV News Brief. The Los Angeles Police Department continues to investigate the murder of the notorious B.I.G., who died in a drive-by shooting early Sunday morning in Los Angeles. In the April issue of The Source magazine on newsstands now, Biggie Smalls talks about his fondness for L.A. He says, quote, "We used to ball out in Cali in the days. We still going out there. But the first thing people gonna think about is that situation, which has been blown up too much more than it was. They done made a personal beef between me and Tupac and Death Row into a coastal beef, East against West. And that's crazy. I never did nothing wrong to Tupac, to Faith, to Lil' Kim, to nobody." He adds that he'd like to quit rap, quote, "I really want to stop. If I was financially stable, I could." That's the news for now. We'll have more news later here on MTV.
In 1997, the world is still mourning the loss of Tupac Shakur. Biggie and Puffy both show their condolences in interviews and are shocked and saddened by the news, or so they claim in their interviews. However, business would continue as usual as Biggie was getting ready to drop his second album, Life After Death. So Biggie went on a media tour to Los Angeles to promote his album, and he was actually there for a few months. But the streets knew. It seems that Tupac even knew. These guys were not safe out there because the streets suspected Puffy and Biggie of having something to do with Tupac's killing. And sure enough, in March of 1997, the notorious B.I.G. is gunned down in Los Angeles. And now the world has effectively lost two legendary rappers just 6 months apart from each other. And all of this because Diddy allegedly put a hit out on Tupac. Because of this feud, Diddy would never ever go on to be suspected, at least until recent times. He would essentially get away with it, release his debut album No Way Out, and gain chart-topping success, especially with a song called Missing You, which is a tribute to the notorious B.I.G. But it's messed up now that you think about it looking back. The song features P. Diddy rapping about how much he misses his friend Biggie, and for Biggie to keep the door open for him in heaven. And the vocals, or the hook, is sang by Faith Evans, the wife who allegedly cheated on Biggie. Could you imagine getting gunned down and it's your friend's fault, and your wife who allegedly cheated on you and your friend who is the reason why you got gunned down are the ones singing your eulogy? Oh man, this is just crazy. It was really hard to believe that Diddy had anything to do with it. In fact, Diddy got away with it yet again. That would be another pattern you're gonna notice in this video, is that Diddy gets away with a lot. By 1998, Diddy's successful as hell, and Bad Boy Records is unquestionably the most successful record label in hip-hop, even more so than Death Row, as Death Row begins to fall apart, especially after the death of Tupac. And the departure of many of Death Row's artists leaves Death Row basically on life support, while Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, and the Bad Boy Records continue to flourish. And it's also around this time that Diddy allegedly begins throwing his all-white parties, where he invites celebrities and A-listers of all sorts, and it's kept quiet by a lot of these people what happens. Now look, these were sex parties, and honestly, that in itself is not necessarily illegal or necessarily uncommon. Sex parties and stuff like that actually is a lot more common than you realize, but that wasn't all this was, as it's eventually revealed in the future that he was filming these parties. And that means that Diddy has videotape footage of many A-listers getting freaky. And that in itself is crazy. You notice how Hollywood isn't really talking about it? In fact, Hollywood and a lot of famous people in general started to wipe their Twitter profiles of having anything to do with Diddy or even discussing going to those parties. However, celebrities, let me tell you right now, that video is out there and hackers exist. So it's only a matter of time. So you better get ready, because these names are about to be released, and Diddy's the one that did you dirty by recording you without your knowledge. Now, if you think it's crazy and shady, oh man, it's about to get even crazier and shadier. In 1999, Combs is arrested and charged with 2 felonies. second-degree assault and criminal mischief when he beat record executive Steve Stout over the head with a telephone, a champagne bottle. They stomped him. I guess they punched the crap out of him and hit him with a chair. Sounded like some WWE stuff. However, Combs apologized and Stout asked for the charges to be dismissed, but secretly they said that Combs paid Stout like $500,000. Well, the assault charges dropped and Diddy gets away again. Except, well, he doesn't. He pleads guilty to harassment instead and then sentenced to 1 day of anger management. So yeah, pretty much Diddy got away with it again. But wait, it gets even shadier. By December of 1999, Sean Diddy Combs is dating Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez and Sean Combs and his new signee at the time, Shine, are arrested in relation to a club shooting in New York, where everybody claims that Diddy was the one that pulled the gun and pulled the trigger. However, he convinced J-Lo, who was his weapons mule, come to find out years later, to tell people in the courtroom that it was actually Shine that did it. And Shine was sentenced to 10 years. Oh, and by the way, Sean Combs and his signee Shine, they both had separate lawyers, if that isn't crazy. So Shine basically gets put away. He takes the fall for Sean Combs pulling the trigger, and Jennifer Lopez allegedly lied about it to get him locked up and to free her then boyfriend Sean Combs. I'm sure that'll probably come back to haunt J-Lo if she doesn't already have enough problems, you know, with the Ben Affleck divorce and all of that stuff. She's about to have even more to worry about. Allegedly, Jennifer Lopez was also at those parties, secretly being recorded, y'all. I'm just saying, something crazy's about to happen. But dang, that is crazy to think about. P. Diddy basically pinned the blame on his signee and got away with it yet again. You see this pattern? By the year 2000, P. Diddy is on MTV and he debuts a show called Making the Band. This is a show where he would go on to basically have people audition to be on a show, but the show is actually kind of funny because it showcased a lot of Diddy just being an asshole. There is a particular episode of Making the Band. Diddy basically makes these guys walk to another borough and back late at night to get him a specific cheesecake from a specific restaurant. That was literally one of the episodes. It's like, you want to be famous, right? Well, you better march your ass across that bridge and get me that cheesecake. And they did. They spent hours walking, and when they finally brought the cheesecake back, Diddy was not even trying to eat it. Man, that was just a little thing that kind of shows that Diddy might be a little bit abusive. He's also said some weird stuff on the show, kind of like...
I don't mean to interrupt you, and I would like to auction something off, okay? If you win, you get a night out with Diddy. Saturday night in New York, and I promise you, your ass will wake up Wednesday laying beside me.
From 2001 to 2005, before meeting Cassie Ventura, Diddy's lawsuits allege that he would basically go on a sexual assault spree and basically do what he wants with his victims, promising them fame, promising them career advancements, manipulating them, or threatening their lives if they told anybody or tried to do anything about it. Thus, Diddy had a stranglehold and was able to even bribe people, and this is on some mafia type stuff, you know? There was a particular incident that he sued for in 2003, filed in a December 2023 lawsuit. Combs and his former Bad Boy Records president Harv Pierre and a third unidentified man allegedly ganged an unnamed 17-year-old victim at a Manhattan recording studio. Also, there have been lawsuits filed alleging that Diddy oftentimes would sexually assault even the contestants of his show. Just to show you the scope of power that this guy had over their lives. It was insane. And you can't tell me that there wasn't tons of people that knew about it and could have stopped it, but ultimately did it. You see, people, this is how nasty the industry is and how nasty it's been. Anybody who has been famous and has been around famous people would tell you that there are some shady, rich, powerful people out there. This is nothing new. In 2005 is when Diddy's relationship with singer Cassie Ventura began. And in February of 2006, Ventura signed with Bad Boy Records with a 10-album deal and released her debut single, Me and You. And it became a hit. She became famous. But during that time, Ventura alleges years of physical, psychological, and emotional abuse. She claims that Combs forced her to purchase and take illegal drugs like cocaine, ketamine, and ecstasy, and filmed her as she was forced to participate in sex with male sex workers and in multiple cities, all while Diddy recorded it for his own pleasure in the background, and he called his parties freak-offs. And then he would beat her on many occasions as well. Things are gonna get shadier. Things would get even crazier from 2006 to 2009. There is allegations that Diddy did not pay the singers of Danity Kane. There's more sexual assault allegations. There's more abuse happening than ever before, and Diddy's white parties are becoming even more freakier. There was a lawsuit filed against Diddy in July of 2024 by a dancer named Audria English. She claims she was recruited by Bad Boy Enterprise employee Tamiko Thomas and was employed by Combs to act as an eye candy model at his Hamptons white party for the first time in the summer of 2004. She claims that Combs instructed her and the other models to drink from a specific bottle that he laced with ecstasy, and though she was not required to have sex with anyone at the first party she attended, she was groomed into sex trafficking over time, or so she claims, by Combs and Thomas. They forced her to engage in vaginal intercourse with guests, claiming that her past in the adult entertainment industry was a reason to downplay her being sex trafficked. Though guests at the notorious parties were required to wear all white, English says that on many occasions she was given a little black dress to wear to denote that she was a sex worker. Things are just shadier and shadier. This is why this guy is behind bars and did not get granted bail. But I digress. It gets even worse. Yeah. And then from there, the allegations just continue and continue. From 2010 to 2022, Diddy goes crazy. His exes claiming that Diddy tries to control all aspects of their lives, sends spies to see who they're talking to, and even threatens those people. Just a very controlling guy. Ventura claims that she began experiencing memory loss during this time, potentially due to excessive drug use and head injuries caused by Diddy beating her. Her MRI results were provided directly to Mr. Combs, as Mr. Combs controlled all of her medical records even. Mr. Combs also allegedly would drive Ventura to doctor appointments and basically keep a close eye on her. He also allegedly slapped Drake in 2010 for using his beat, the 0 to 100. I thought that was wild, but yeah, probably very true. And yo, this is one of the craziest ones. But in February of 2012, Cassie began dating Kid Cudi. And Mr. Combs took it upon himself to plant a freaking bomb in his car just to blow it up to scare the crap out of him. That just sounded made up, and I'm like, no way that happened. But eventually, I guess Kid Cudi got reached out to and he confirmed it. On June 26, 2022, Combs receives a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2022 BET Awards. Boy, that didn't age very well, did it? That was undoubtedly an undeserved reward there. Could you imagine all of the people you assaulted watching you win a Lifetime Achievement Award? It's like, you gotta believe the game is fake. I mean, if this doesn't show, you gotta believe the game is fake.
Oh man, first of all, I want to thank God. God, thank you so much, never leaving my side, always being by my side, keeping me in my purpose, keeping me in my work, lifting me up off the ground, always being by my side. Anything I do is through God. I know we all go through grief and stuff like that, and it's like, you know, stay connected to God, and He'll bring you out. This is not. We don't control this. Prayer works. I'm gonna pray for y'all. Pray for me. Let's pray for each other. Hey, y'all, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. I was in a dark place. These images that were setting me up for failure, these images that was making me feel like less than a dog. And then I just closed my eyes and dreamed, and I opened my eyes and I saw what I had to do. But you know, I had to get focused, man. I had to get locked in because it's important. Life is important, and we ain't here just for ourselves. We're here for our ancestors. And so God put this message on my heart to give to you and you and you and you. The time is now. I got this new dream. Black people being free. I got this dream of us controlling our own destiny. This dream of us taking accountability and to stop killing each other. I got this dream of us being rich and wealthy and living on the same block. I have this dream of us unifying, not just talk on this stage.
In a lawsuit filed in February of 2024, producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a former producer of Combs who worked with him on his latest release, the Love album, Off the Grid, alleges that the music mogul groped him repeatedly, and during the time that they were making the album, Combs forced Jones to solicit sex workers and take illegal drugs and more. The suit names others close to Combs, including Combs' son, Justin Dior Combs, and high-ranking members of Motown Records and Universal Music Group as co-defendants. In September of 2023, Combs received a key to the city from New York Mayor Eric Adams, who, by the way, later on would go and get arrested himself for bribery and just being a corrupt politician. Kind of funny how that all works, huh? But Diddy did have to give the key back, so just so y'all know, he had to give the key back. But dang, now things really come apart. On November 16th, 2023, Cassie Ventura accused Diddy of years of sexual misconduct, harassment, sex trafficking, among other allegations. Ventura's allegations lasted for the entirety of their working and personal relationship. Ventura filed a civil lawsuit in New York Superior Court under the state's Adult Survivors Act, a New York law that permits victims of sexual abuse a one-year window to file civil action regardless of the statute of limitations of the crimes themselves. This, of course, would be the law that helped bring Diddy down. Combs, via his attorney, Benjamin Brafman, told the New York Times, "Mr. Combs vehemently denies these offensive and outrageous allegations. For the past 6 months, Mr. Combs has been subject to Ms. Ventura's persistent demand of $30 million under the threat of writing a damaging book about their relationship, which was unequivocally rejected as blatant blackmail. Despite withdrawing her initial threat, Ms. Ventura has now resorted to filing a lawsuit riddled with baseless and outrageous lies, so he claims, aiming to tarnish Mr. Combs' reputation and seeking a payday." Then a video would leak onto the internet of Diddy in a towel assaulting his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. The world got a glimpse of the monster that Diddy really was, and for the first time in his entire career, the kind of monster that Diddy was in full view of the public.
The surveillance video obtained by CNN begins as she enters the hallway. The complaint says, as she exited, Mr. Combs awoke and began screaming at Miss Ventura. He followed her into the hallway of the hotel while yelling at her. The complaint goes on to say he grabbed her and then took glass vases in the hallway and threw them at her. In the surveillance video, Combs can be seen grabbing Ventura and throwing her to the ground. As Ventura lies on the ground, Combs then kicks her twice and attempts to drag her on the floor back to the hotel room. Ventura is seen picking up a hotel phone. Combs seems to walk back to the hotel room, then returns and appears to shove her in a corner.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it, I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
the internet began going wild with conspiracy theories, poking jokes at Diddy that still have lasted to this day. They thought Diddy might have ran away to a private island, as his apology video looked like he was filming it in some sort of tropical island. There was fears that Diddy was a flight risk, and everything was starting to close in on him at this point. It's by 2024 that things really hit the fan, as the feds begin to suspect Diddy is involved in sex trafficking, and the FBI is notified. Thus, they commence a raid on his house.
Breaking news, the Department of Homeland Security has just confirmed to CNN that federal law enforcement agents have raided properties owned by musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs. Let's bring in CNN security correspondent Josh Campbell and CNN legal analyst Joey Jackson. Josh, let me start with you. What are these raids by federal agents in multiple locations tell you about the seriousness of this investigation?
On September 16th, 2024, the police arrest P. Diddy. He tries to gain bail but is denied bail by the judge. He appeals that decision and is denied again. Diddy is considered far too much of a threat to the public, and there were fears that he might try and intimidate some of the witnesses, so they decided to keep his ass in the slammer.
Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as of this moment. Joining us now is CNN's entertainment reporter Elizabeth Wagmeister, and also with us CNN chief legal correspondent Ellie Honing. Elizabeth, you were a big part of revealing some details about Diddy's conduct in private over the course of the last couple of months. That video led to a lot more scrutiny on what he has been accused of. What do we know at this point about what this case might ultimately be about?
More and more and more allegations keep pouring in, more and more people now suing. Let this be known that this is not a hip-hop exclusive thing. This kind of thing is very much embedded in American culture. Sex workers, people smuggling drugs. America just likes to party, and they build these underground industries because of our lifestyles. So this shouldn't shock anybody. What's surprising to me is that finally people who are powerful are paying the price. I never thought I'd see the day, especially with Diddy, who had been getting away with things for over 3 decades. Celebrities have slowly began to distance themselves from Diddy. They even scrubbed their social media accounts so people don't question him. Undoubtedly, this one case, the case against Diddy, will lock him up for the rest of his life, and there's a chance he may never see freedom. But the ripple effects could bring down other celebrities, so keep your eyes open for that.